Hello, 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 and welcome back to Lake of Voices. I have been enjoying the hell out of this one so far. Loving the art style, loving the voice acting. The story it's intriguing. I'm curious to see how things play out. Last time we got attacked by what are called prowlers. They're the Nixie that come up out of the water and try to snag humans off the bridge and drag them into the water to drown them. We managed to save Bemele. It wasn't hard because we only had two options. It was either pull him to safety, or do nothing. So, wasn't gonna let my boy Bemele go down like that. So we're gonna move forward.
I don't want to sound like a child, but how much longer until we arrive at the halfway point?
Oh, he's talking to the guide. Margaret chuckles, reflecting the amusement I don't want to vocalize.
We still have some ways to go.
Thanks, Alucard.
Damn.
I suppress my laughter yet again at his pouting response. The gloom we've been under dissipates slightly, like light flickering through the fog.
The first trial tends to be the most difficult. I believe we will only react better from this point on.
Yeah.
I like the way you think.
Yeah. Then a gleam enters Bemele's eyes and he
I
grins.
think Kika deserves a round of applause. Her quick reflexes are owed the utmost appreciation.
I mean, I had like 10 seconds to decide. That time wasn't going down slow at all. No quick responses here. He leans softly into my shoulder, trying to get me to... What?
It was indeed a sight. You're quite capable. Bemele was also a sight, but for very different reasons. The way he froze with his mouth all agape was a laugh in itself.
Was a laugh. Bemele shakes a fist at Margaret in mock anger, then shoots me an affectionate look.
You should know, she and I are usually on equal footing.
The only reason you had footing at all is because she pulled you back.
It all. She's like a black Hermione. Bemele laughs, self-consciously, scratching his head.
That's very true. You can always count on Kika.
I keep my eyes steadily ahead, unsure how I should respond. I'm pleased, almost grateful, to hear what they think of me, but I don't know what I could say that wouldn't seem pathetic. Instead, I contribute the best way I can. I keep my focus on the path ahead of us. Without a response from me, the conversation quickly dies out. Still, it eases my heart to be on such friendly terms with my companions. After some time, I notice Margaret isn't keeping up with the guide as much as she was before. I realize it's because the guide has increased his pace. Margaret begins to jog in an effort to keep up with him, and Bemele and I do the same despite this. The guide keeps getting further away. We go faster and faster until suddenly we're full on sprinting across the slick wooden boards. Figures in the dark fog fly past us on a blur, and it occurs to me that the branching paths of the bridge appear to be sinking? I tried hard to swallow my rising panic. The guide shouts something, but it's drowned out by the frantic pounding of our footsteps. I'm trying to piece together what he said. Don't stop believing? When he takes a masterfully sharp right down a different path using his own momentum, and the sleek wood to slide into the new direction with no loss of speed. That's baller. That's Tokyo drifting right there. Margaret must not have worked out the warning either, as she is completely caught off guard by the guide's change in course. She runs straight ahead past the turn and continues down the path we've been following up until now. She clumsily begins to halt her momentum down the wrong bridge. Then I come up to the fork. Turn! I make a hard turn, following the guide and leaving Margaret at the rear. Bemele's footsteps stay as loud as they were before. He's made the turn and is close behind me as ever. Out of the corner of my eye, I see Margaret turn around to try to catch up, to come back to us, only to have the bridge in front of her. Oh, jeez. I slow down for a breath, feeling the impulse to turn back, but ignore. There's no time. Margaret can make the jump, and then she'll rejoin us. I keep my eyes glued to the guide's back, ears perked for Margaret's footsteps approaching behind us, and then I hear it, a scream. I whip around, sliding to a stop. Margaret is sinking. The bridge she's on is sinking into the water. She's disappearing. She didn't jump.
What are you doing?
Margaret's head shoots up, her face drained of all color.
Jump!
Yeah, jeez, come on! She stumbles near the edge of the bridge, staring at the placid water of lake. Even from a distance, I can see her shaking. I can't say if it is from the bridge descent or her own fear. She barely seems to remain standing. I swallow painfully. Aw, man, Margaret bends and tries to jump. She curves in a small arc, achieving more height than she should, and lands directly in the lake with a muted splash. Bemley starts beside me, but I grab his hand and pull. We start running again, leaving Margaret flailing in the water behind us. Damn, dude. Damn, dude. We don't need to watch this. We both know exactly what will happen to her now. Damn. I was actually starting to like Margaret. Margaret's anguished cries pierce the night. Then the screaming stops. Oh, get the hell out of my face with that. My legs are weak. It isn't right, but I push myself to keep going. Bemley curses between heavy breaths, calling those things every foul language in his large book. I try to focus on the pounding of my feet, but my brain won't cooperate. Instead, I imagine Margaret's terror as she's clawed to pieces by the Nixon. This music is so epic. This is the kind of music you want to hear when stuff is going down. When it's hitting the fan, this is the kind of music you want to hear. I love whoever made the music for this game. Good job. Good job. Just killing that piano. After everything, I didn't help her. We left her in the dark. Damn, dude, this game. Sometimes, like, this moment reminds me of how frustrating it was to play the Telltale's The Walking Dead when you had to make some of those lose-lose decisions. Damn. As the night wears on, our strength rapidly fades. How much longer will this last? People have to rest sometime. Almost as if in response to my thought, the guide abruptly halts. I skid to a stop as well, sliding on the surface of the wood.
Why did we stop?
Bemley's voice is tired, but his guard is up. The guide doesn't answer, just stares at something slightly out of view. I step up to join him, following his gaze further down the path. Oh snap, what's this? There, curled in a little ball, illuminated by the lantern's light, cowers a person. His hand grips his head, and he rocks from side to side, mumbling incoherently.
It's a man.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I couldn't. I just couldn't. Please. I'm sorry.
I'm struck with an array of questions. What is going on? Why would he wander out into the bridge on his own? Did he make it this far by himself? Were there others with him? If that's somehow the case, I can't blame him for the state of shock he's in. The man stops mumbling. He glances above him, seemingly only just now having the strength to lift his head. His expression, the deepest sadness along with the clear markings of terror, are scrawled onto his face. I stare at him in shock, not sure what to do.
Leave him.
I snap my eyes away from the man and instead to the guide's cold, implacable face.
No! We can't just leave him here. Without light, it's certain he'll die.
He won't make it regardless.
The guide turns to look at us, his eyes seeming to glow from the closeness of his lantern. For the first time, I feel uncomfortable in his presence.
Whoever shelters him will only risk dragging themselves down with him. Leave him.
I glance at my partner. Bemley is outraged. I'm trying to think of some kind of compromise when the guide speaks again, his voice cutting.
If the man comes, then whoever is shielding him will have to remain at a distance from the rest of the group. Far enough that you can't see me, just my light. That is how you will travel across the bridges. I didn't agree to lead this man, and I won't. If you ask me to, I will leave you all behind.
God damn! Adrenaline surges through my veins and I tense up. It's a painful reminder that the guide isn't here to save our lives, but merely to show us the way. Like I said, he's on the clock. That's all he cares about. We're on our own. Bemel and I frantically... Bemley, I called him Bemel again. Bemley and I frantically share more looks between each other, trying to communicate without words. Neither of us have a desire to speak and be the first to make a choice. The man is standing now, though still hunched with his arms wrapped around himself, as if expecting a blow. He stares at the ground rather than us. Because of this, I'm having trouble reading his face. What exactly happened to
Are
him?
you well, stranger? Do you know where you are and why you're here?
He glances up, not at me, but toward me, his eyes resting somewhere near my collarbone.
I'm fine. You all can go on your way. Forget you even saw me here.
Alright, cool.
That's absurd. You have no way to defend yourself. We can't leave you.
Yes, I'm sure in your eyes I might not seem like much, but that's not exactly a fair shake. Maybe in a perfect world, every man would be as large as you. But that's not how things always go. Doesn't mean I'm
There's a euphemism
defenseless.
there in that first sentence. The man's responding is meandering. The words themselves seem to be in good jest, but he's still barely looking at us, fidgeting with his hands. Benmele frowns, unimpressed.
It was a joke.
He smiles hesitantly, making eye contact with each of us for the first time.
What part of it was supposed to be the joke? Do you even realize what is happening in this moment?
Never mind. Forget that too. Point is, I'm alright.
You have found yourself out alone and unlit on Sinlos.
Exactly. Something must be wrong with you.
Oh no.
All the more
Sounds
reason
like
not
you've been
to.
talking with my father.
He lets out a weak little laugh, coupled with an eyebrow raise, voice trembling. No one really knows what to make of this. Yeah, there's a time and a place for jokes, and out here, we literally just had someone die, kid. The man gives a small wave and begins down the path we came. Benmele huffs, tossing his hands into
That's
the
not
air.
even the right way.
It is for me.
Oh? You must have come quite a ways if it was the other shore you started on.
The man's smile grows.
Good. That's not so bad.
There's no response to this remark, unsure of what could be said.
I still think he should come with us. A person needs a light, and the guide himself said he won't be able to manage on his own. Sticking with us is his best option.
I look over the man's body, noting the scrawniness of his limbs. Scrawny, but not necessarily lacking in muscle. The bravado he was showing us as he tried to leave us has faded yet again. Now he's standing quietly, looking at us as if watching a play. Interest, but no true connection to the events.
It's easy for you to say such things, but whose light are you offering?
He's got a point.
It's not mine, and you are putting her in even more danger with your own presence already.
Benmele's hands turn into fists. He looks away, but doesn't say anything. For a moment, no one does. I feel a cold sweat on my brow as I feared what comes to pass. As what I feared comes to pass. He's stopping us from protecting another. Why must he get involved now? Why can he not leave us to make our own decisions?
Don't worry about me. I'll be on my way now.
Cool. See? He said not to worry about him. He's absolved us. The man's voice is full of something I cannot place, and he starts to shuffle back down the way we came, arms still clenched around himself. I know the guide wants to act as though there is no option. However, I could stay back with him. It'll put Benmele and myself at a significantly more risk, but at least this man will stand a chance. Yeah, we're not doing that. We just watched someone else die. Can't risk it. Benmele stares at the man as he leaves. We both watch him drag his little frame down the bridge, quickly fading from sight. We had to let him go. We've already suffered the loss of one of our own. Exactly! The space the man vanished into is dark and silent. We can see and hear nothing of him, not even his footsteps. The guide was right. There are no other options. Well, that is what I have to believe. We need to get through this somehow, and being weighed down with guilt will only distract us. The guide starts moving again at a quick pace. After a moment's hesitation and one last glance into the truly lifeless fog, we run to catch up to him. We walk onwards in silence. Our party hasn't changed. The stranger was never added to it, so it's not as if it makes sense to miss him. But there's a sense of loss all the same. No one even attempts mirth. I keep thinking I should have done more. I should have pushed the guide harder to change his mind so that it's less dangerous to keep the man around. Something. And I don't like the fact that it gave me a choice, but now I'm like sitting here lamenting my choice. I made my choice, jeez. But I have to let this go. I'm not going to forget that man. I'll never forget him. Yeah, you will, because I will. But we still need to get through this. I curl my hands into fists, hoping it'll strengthen my resolve. Then I push forward. We turn down a different path, and the guide stops. Ahead of us stands a group of prowlers. At the sound of us, they turn their heads in unison, as if they knew we were coming. I inhale. The prowlers wriggle somehow, their skin moving more slowly than it should, sliding across their skeletons. They laugh.
We cannot lose another lantern at this point. We're almost to the island.
The guide rummages through his coat with his free hand.
What are you planning?
Magic, sir! Bemile's tone is borderline threatening, but the guide ignores him. He pulls out a small pouch and then opens a latch on his lantern.
Wait, are you going to throw that at them? What if the bridge sets on fire?
It will. We're going to run.
This is insane! These bridges are hellish enough without them also being on fire. And what about the other man? If he's still out there, this could...
He's dead. We're not losing another lantern.
He says it with such detached certainty. It's as if he saw it happen himself. No one argues with him. The guide steps closer to the prowlers. We follow in step behind him, staying close to his back. He bends his lantern back down until it is lowered to his outstretched arm. The pouch in his hand is set aflame. With a practiced flick of the wrist, he swings the staff back and up. The glass on the lantern snaps closed.
Don't get left behind.
He takes 3 quick steps, then tosses the pouch. The prowlers are back in the water before the pouch even lands. As soon as it does, the fire starts to lick and curl itself around the wood. The guide breaks into a sprint, and so do the rest of us. You mean the rest of us? There's only 2 of us. The blaze grows, despite the heavy dampness from the lake. These bridges aren't normal bridges. Of course that's true. Nothing here is right. Hopefully they won't collapse with the flames. We stay on the guide's heels, almost too close for comfort. If he stops abruptly, we'll all crash into one another, maybe even fall off the bridge. Then the world tilts. I was mid-stride when I put my foot down. The bridge isn't where it was. It lurches to one side, either because it was weakened or pushed. Bemile and I manage to keep our ground, as does the guide. He presses on without even bothering to see if we were able to follow. Bemile growls in frustration as we push through to keep up with the guide's pace. As our storm of feet thunder across the board, that's a weird sentence. A silver sliver begins to rise into view, just above the edge of the water.
It's the island.
The island? I squint and suddenly make out the craggy forms of land and earth. I see it. We're almost there. Safety at long last in sight. New energy surges through me. We push ourselves faster, longing to put these godforsaken bridges behind our backs. All at once, the bridge ends, and our entire group rushes ashore. Earth. Solid earth. A haven from the water. I catch my breath while still moving even further away from this dark shoreline. I can't believe we actually made it. Even more difficult is the idea that we're only halfway done. When night falls once more, we have to do it all again. A heavy arm falls across my shoulders, and I straighten to see Bemile smiling warily at me.
Good work out there.
It's not the usual commendation of a job well done. There's sadness, perhaps even sympathy in the sentence. It ends flatly. Usually Bemile's comfort and good nature gives me at least the urge to smile, but right now, it feels like a hollow victory. Despite still having the comfort of one another, we were incapable of doing any true good. We were only able to save ourselves. A quiet moment passes between us. And then the guide is there. He moves so smoothly that his steps on the soft sand are nearly silent, and his dusky clothes blend with the thinning of the night.
The sun will rise soon. The fire on the bridge is the only reason this island isn't overrun with prowlers right now. However, they could still pose a threat.
Bemile levels an empty look towards the guide.
Is there something we should do?
Is he gonna say it? Guess not. The guide takes us to an area a bit further inland, but not too far away from the water. The trees partially obscure our location, and there's enough room to watch the coast in case Essentially, it's a place where an ambush would be hard.
If any of you see anything at all, speak up. We don't want them to sneak up on us.
Almost automatically, each member of the group turns to a different direction. As the sky continues to fade from pale purple to a muted blue, the water stays silent. For the first time, nothing happens. It is a miracle. Suddenly my chest is lighter and the air is fresher. The first pricks of light appear over the horizon, stinging my eyes after such a long journey through darkness. A sound catches my attention, and I move my focus towards its direction. The guide is opening the latch on his lantern again. He gently, almost respectfully, blows out the light.
We no longer have to worry about the Nixie. It is over for today.
I'm almost unable to keep tears of relief from pouring out of those words. We made it through the night. We survived. No one feels the need to speak. We look at each other, an understanding passing between us. Then we find our own space, as comfortable as we can get, and lie down for the rest we weren't sure would ever come. Alright, we're gonna call it an episode there. So I've made up my mind. We're gonna go through this entire game. It seems like we're about halfway there, if the comment about the island being the midpoint is any indication. So we probably have 3 episodes left, maybe 4 if the content really comes fast and furious. But we're gonna keep it around the 20-minute mark for each episode. I'm actually kind of sad that Margaret went. The guy I wasn't too keen on, because I was like, we just lost Margaret. I wasn't gonna put ourselves in more danger. I feel like we would have had Margaret still in our party if I had Kit Kat switch positions with her when she had offered, because then the guide would have turned, and then I would have turned, and then Margaret would have seen us turn, so she would have noticed in time. So I feel like, depending on how the game ends and how many people survive, I might do a second playthrough just to see what happens when we keep everyone alive, just see what happens differently. But for now, if you're looking forward to seeing how the story plays out like I am, hit that like and subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell icon so you can get notifications when new episodes of videos go up. I've been Saturn, you guys have been awesome, and I'll see you guys in the next episode of Link of Voices. Later.